Hello all and welcome back to The Only Way We Knew, Father and Daughter Podcast with myself, Ria.
And myself, Mem, the father of Ria.
Dun dun dun!
I've got to get it in.
You're back again.
Yeah.
Fifth time.
Is it the fifth time?
It's the fifth time.
We're moving on. We are...
slowly creeping
We're
up the ladder.
We're foundating ourselves. Yeah. How did you find the last podcast?
I found it quite funny when I watched it, I won't lie. I did shock myself with how much I was hungry. No, I mean, I do find it... I find it important to keep things real. So I think me opening up about my struggles and my successes in regards to like my journey with my weight and just being healthy in general, I think hopefully it was been a little bit enlightening for all of you guys, and if you can relate in somewhat way, hopefully it gave you a little bit of comfort to know that we all struggle and we all have struggles.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was good. What about yourself?
I mean, I ain't seen you all week, alright, so this is the first time that, you know, we've sat down again and boom, but I came away and I felt like I'd disturbed myself.
In what way?
It just made me reevaluate things. I mean, as much as I was talking on the last podcast, it just made me just reevaluate. I mean, even though I was talking about me being slim and that, you know, there's, you know, an internal healthy as well. Do you know what I mean? And it really made me evaluate. I went back to work. I was talking to clients and I just found myself asking clients questions about health. And I found it really extraordinary. And it's sort of like, I don't know if it's because I'm fasting at the moment. So I don't know if it's because it's making me reevaluate food, if it's making me reevaluate my everyday routine. Do you get what I mean? I feel like I'm not drinking enough water. And, you know, just like what I mentioned in the shout out earlier, was I'm not getting any older, any younger. Older.
And you're not getting any younger.
I'm not getting any younger. So I felt like today, look, I'm sorry for all the people out there that I said the gym is not for me. But I got a confession. I was looking at David Lloyd gym today and it's really enticing and I really feel like I need to do it.
Yeah. I mean, like I touched on in regards to the exercise, I think it has so many good effects on you, not just physically, but mentally too. I think it's a good structure to have, you know, working on yourself in that way.
Yeah, then I just came away and I just said to myself, it wasn't even that night. It was the next day. Like I was watching people jogging and I was just watching them and I was like, God, he's pretty fast, isn't he? And I thought to myself, if I jogged, would I be that fast? And the bloke that was jogging was older than me.
Yeah.
So it really made me think to myself, you know...
Can you jog fast?
Do you want the honest truth?
Yeah. I'm sure if you jog fast, you're running.
I'm a good runner.
Yeah.
I'm a good runner.
Or used to be a good runner.
I used to be a good runner. So I don't know. I haven't put myself to them.
I'm not a good runner.
No?
I don't think so.
You used to run when I used to chase you when you was a kid.
Yeah,
you never got very far.
I don't think running is my forte, but I hear you. It'd be something good for you to
Yeah, I just really
explore.
thought, I said to myself, should I start a bit of football? But I can't because of my job. I don't want to hurt myself. And it's just really made me think about it all, you know, and... You know,
coming away, you've got a bit of a different outlook on it. Yeah.
So even though the podcast we did last time, I spoke in a certain manner, I do believe, just like, remember when we was talking about, I said to you, does your boyfriend say anything to you? Does your boyfriend say, and you go, no. I felt like I said something to myself.
I hear you.
And it enlightened something. And it was a good feel though. You know what I mean? It was a good feel, and even though, like I said, I'm fasted at the moment and I haven't got like loads and loads of energy, it's a bit like I can't wait to do it.
I understand. I know what you mean.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good. So you gained something good from the last episode.
Yeah. Even though like, we're trying to project this to other people to look and thingy, it made me reevaluate it.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? And
that's what I feel like these podcasts will do for us personally. Obviously, the viewers will digest it however they digest it. Hopefully, it's in positive lights. But for us, you know, we're still learning every day. So, you know, we'll discover new things about ourselves throughout this. And
I think it's like, look, we're going to get into like different subjects, all right? And as much as we talk about like mental health awareness and stuff like that, or we're going to talk about it and everything that's relating to it, mental health awareness, you know, is important for us. But even though you might feel like you're okay, sometimes you still need that awareness. That spark, that little thing where I said to you about your boyfriend telling you, and I told myself, it's like it makes you reevaluate it. And I think it's important that we hold on to that. You know, I think it's powerful.
Even though you may perceive things as okay, there's always maybe a bit of room to be better.
Just flowing past. But it's just watching the the podcast. Because the reason why I say that is because I don't watch none of this podcast. I don't watch any of it until Sunday at 5 o'clock while you're watching it right now. So while you guys are watching this on the 5 o'clock Sunday slot, I'm watching it as well. Ria does all the editing. So I don't know how she edits it. I don't know what she does. She gives me a bit of like an insight. Oh, Dad, you know what? This, that and the other. And I always go like, you flow with it. You use your imagination. But yeah, it just enlightened me. You know, I came to the end of it and I felt like, oh, maybe I should really look into this, you know. You know, looking at that Eddie guy, you know, it's inspirational in a way. I mean, even though like I took a little bit of the mick out of him, it's only general humour. Yeah. But, you know, for a guy, I don't know how old he is, 50s?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure.
And that's a good thing. We can't tell you how old he is. You know what I mean? So... Yeah. So today's subject.
Normally, I pick the subjects as we learnt in one of our last episodes. But I thought it would be a good idea to let Dad have a little bit of an input. And I said to him, think of a subject. Have a little think about what we could talk about before. Again, I know we keep coming back to this, but we do have some really, I'd say, serious topics that we will be delving into. Some that we want to kind of save. We don't want to jump into them too soon. And obviously we're talking about an array of different subjects in our podcast, but they do all link back to our book, The Only Way We Knew. And it's just important that we do cover all of those subjects in terms of like, you know, our inspirations and what the book entails without giving it all away. So I said to Dad, have a little think and see, you know. So I don't know the subject today. So we're reversing. We're switching sides. So yeah, Dad, go on, introduce the subject.
Okay, just before I introduce it, all right. So when you said to me, think about it, I thought, you know what? I'm not going to go for nothing too serious. I'm not going to go for something too, like, you know, where we have to really, like, you know. So I thought, let's do something light-hearted.
Okay.
That I do believe is semi-related to the book.
Yeah.
The way the book was written.
Yep.
How it was written. And the only way I can explain it is when I read the book, I felt like I was watching a film. So I feel like today's subject is going to be about movies or / films. And the reason why I say that is because I feel like all of us have a connection with films that we've watched. I think films are important to us. And as much as I just say film and like, you really film?
No, I think that's a pretty good subject.
Yeah.
We're going to just be talking about films, or does this include like series?
No, you can talk about whatever you want.
Okay.
All right. So, but I will start you off with sort of like a couple of questions.
Yeah.
While you think about what you're going to answer, I can possibly think about what else I'm going to ask you, and you can do it back to me. All right?
Perfect. Sounds
is that
good.
All right?
Yeah, this is exciting.
Okay. All right. Well, my first question is, which I haven't thought. This is nothing that I've been thinking about like during the day or anything like that. It's all what is coming off the front of our minds. All right. What's the first memory of a film that you can actually remember? 1 second before you answer it, all right? So all you guys that are watching this as well, think about the first memory that you feel like, I watched that, and you watched it, all right? So you tell me what film that you can remember watching.
I think you'll know what film I'm going to say. The first film I remember watching and loving and adoring and repeating was Grease. I mean, we'll get into other ones. I'm sure you'll ask questions that will allow me to speak on other ones. But when I was a kid, I literally had a video player, and the internet, movies, and, you know, all the channels that you've got on television today, they weren't very accessible to us. So whatever I had on video, I would tend to rewatch, and it just so happened Grease was one of them, and I rewatched the out of it. Did I not?
You did.
How many times did I watch Grease, Dad?
You didn't watch it. You didn't watch it a couple of times a week. You watched it quite a few times a day. And
I just remember loving it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Grease. It has to be Grease.
I've got to say, I loved Grease as well. I think it's a film that everyone loved.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just one of them films. It was a little bit like, you know, you had a bit of romance in it.
Summer loving happened so fast.
There was one part in it I hated though. What was it? Do you know what bit I hated?
That bit, wasn't it? Where he went at the end.
No, that's not the bit I hated. I hated the part where they were in the diner. And do you remember the girl with the pink hair?
And the bloke.
And he was there singing with all the girls.
That film? What was that song again?
I can't remember, but I wanted to skip that part.
No,
Beauty School Dropout. Oh my gosh.
I wanted to kick his head in.
Did it annoy you as well? That was the worst part of that film for me, honestly. But everything else I really liked. So yeah, Grease. What about you?
No, I want to just stay on Grease for 1 minute.
All right.
So I loved Grease. I can remember when I walked in one day. I can't remember how old I was, 14, 15 years old. And my brother and my cousin Tops were in the front room watching it. And they were going out, but they were not going to go out until they watched the end of this film.
Was this the first time they watched it?
So I was in the background, sort of like watching it, and I could watch it, and I was like, this is wicked. Yeah. I love it. And I can remember at that time, I had hair.
Okay.
And I become Danny Zuko.
Yeah, he was wicked.
I become Danny Zuko.
Yeah.
He was so cool.
He was, wasn't he?
And I've got to say, just as an actor, John Travolta.
He's wicked, yeah.
If you guys have you seen Staying Alive?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
I think his walk, I feel like I got his walk. When I watch the documentaries and I see myself walking, I ain't got the hair.
But I've got the sass.
I had the little swagger. I was like, yes, Danny, you go. You know what I mean?
And I think as well, he's very like his look.
Oh, he was, yeah.
Yeah, like he's just got that.
He had a bit of a feminine side to him,
yeah.
but he was like
and
so
it's quite
cool.
interesting actually, because I wouldn't say John Travolta is my traditional type, but I really fancied John Travolta. I don't know what it was about him.
Because he was cool.
He was just cool. And
I feel like he had like wet
his chin.
He had like wet lips, didn't he? Like even Sandra Dee. Was it Sandra Dee? No, what's her name?
Olivia Newton-John.
Oh yeah, but what was it called?
Sandy. Yeah.
Sandy.
Yeah.
Can't you see? Oh, I could watch it now. I could.
I have to give it a watch.
Yeah, High School Project. I loved it. I thought it was awesome.
It was
and
wicked,
I think the reason why it was such a good film, because it had music in it.
It was a mixture, isn't it? Like it was.
It wasn't just a flat film.
No,
like, boom, boom.
It had the heartbreak aspect. It had the love, the friendships, the
Rizzo. Oh, I used to love Rizzo.
Yeah. Bite the weenie, Riz.
Yeah,
remember?
Yeah.
And I always remember her glasses, like when she was like.
Yeah, so she did wear that film. I mean, I could talk about Grease all the time. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things that make me feel young as well. I mean, I bet you John Travolta can't even look at the film or talk about it. But yeah, I thought it was an awesome film.
Yeah.
Memorable, very nostalgic. It was definitely an era film. And this is why I brought up film, because what will happen is it will bring up certain parts of your life. Like all the viewers out there or whoever's watching it will think about film and where they watched it, who they were with,
how old they were when they watched it,
and what they were doing at that time. If they were at school or primary school, and as things as things go on, they start to map out their film life, how it fits in. Yeah,
definitely. Oh, I'm excited already. This is a good subject.
Yeah.
You ready to answer your one, or do you want to talk about Grease a bit more?
No, go on.
All right, so what was the earliest memories of a film that you really enjoyed?
It was a hard one. It was a really hard one, because there was a few. All right, so I can't really pinpoint which one I actually watched first. But there was one called, and the guy, people will understand, it was called Sinbad.
Okay.
Do you remember Sinbad?
Yeah, I do.
With the Medusa.
With Medusa.
With the Medusa.
Yeah.
And I mean, if I sit back and watch that film now, and I can actually remember, it was like really
terrible graphics.
Terrible. But I felt like, and I tell you what it was, because I think Sinbad was from like he was like an Arabian or something, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So I had a bit of a connection with him, being like,
I look a bit like him.
Yeah, like, I felt like
I could look like him when I'm older.
Yeah, he wasn't American. He wasn't, and I felt like, oh mate, like, and then he had that monkey, big massive monkey, member with the club. And if you actually watch the film, it's actually shit. It's shit. But at that time, it was unreal. I mean, special effects weren't like today, green screen and all this digital enhancement and whatever. Back then, they used to move these little models around, and you could see where it would just jump a bit too much. And you're like,
it was very, very at the beginning of the whole.
You just allowed your imagination just to flow with it. And the thing was with that film that stuck with me the most, and was Medusa, where it was this woman where you couldn't look in her eyes because you turned to stone. This is what happened. So what happened with me, I ended up getting this fear that every person I saw with really long, bushy, curly hair.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would think, oh my God, that's Medusa. And I wouldn't look into their eyes. I was like,
how old you were?
I was only young.
Yeah,
I was only young, but that was like one of the first ones I can remember. I just want to sort of like obviously you remember cassettes. Do you remember the cassette shop? Do you remember do you remember the video shops? Blockbusters.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do remember Blockbusters.
So before Blockbuster opened, there used to be other video shops, like just little shops. You'd walk in, they're all lined up, and we used to go to one that used to have Turkish films. And I remember my dad used to go and get them. And I remember the video shop. The video shop was a sacred place. That was the place you would escape.
Yeah, just browsing through all of them.
But you knew once that cassette went in, you'd escape. You'd just lock onto this film and you'd lock onto it.
I think that's why films are so, I wouldn't say popular, but it's like a book, isn't it? When you're watching it, you literally, especially when you're into it, when you're like, this is good, you lose yourself in it. You step into the world of the whatever film you're watching, and it absorbs you for an hour and a half or however long that you're watching it, and it's an amazing escapism.
That's how I felt with Grease. You know, when it finished, I cried. I wanted it to carry on. I wanted to know what they were doing. I wanted to know if they
invested in the
I wanted
people.
to know if they were going to have children together. I think I was wondering if there was going to be a little Danny Zuko running around. And
I'm sure a lot of people can relate too, but when I was a kid watching films, for a very, very long period, I thought the actors were the actual people.
Real, that's what I mean. Like, I felt
it took a while for me to learn that this is not.
Actors.
I was like, oh, what? Like,
but I think that's being young.
Of course,
innocent.
I was going to say, I'm sure lots of people can relate to that, but that's a bit of a harsh reality. You're like, what? Danny's not Danny? What do you mean he's John? Who's John?
John Travolta? Is that his name? What? And he don't walk like that? No, he's ruined it for me. But have you ever... What was your first ever horror film?
My first ever horror film... Oh. I was always scared of horror films for a very long time. And I can remember seeing little bits and bobs of... Do you remember the film Demons? Yeah, that was never me watching it though. It was just I caught little bits like, okay, and that really frightened me. So I was like, okay, I won't go near horror films for a while. But in terms of being my own person and being like, I'm actively going to watch a horror film, I think it was like a Jeepers Creepers.
I remember that.
Yeah,
that was a good film.
Yeah, but I think it was the second one, so Jeepers Creepers 2. You know, where there's a school bus.
Better.
That one. I think that was the first time as well.
I think that was flying.
And he had the big bat wings and he licked the. Do you remember he licked the school bus and like you're like, oh my god, like. So obviously I think there's levels to horror films, but for me at that time, Jeepers Creepers, I found exciting, scary, but it wasn't enough to put me off horror films. So Jeepers Creepers. And again, I just liked the concept of it, and it was different. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't really experimental with horror films at that specific point. So watching it, I was like, oh, this is pretty exciting. And I can remember I actually watched it at my friend's house with a group of us. We watched it all together. I must have been about 13, 14. And again, like I just said to you, I didn't watch horror films. So watching it, I was a little bit like, I had a bit of like, oh, I've got to be a bit brave here. Do you know what I mean? Everyone else is going to watch it. And I was a bit apprehensive. But then watching it, I was like, this is pretty good. And I'll always remember Jeepers Creepers too. I remember trying to put it on for Kyra on Halloween. Yeah, she was not involved.
Not a good thing.
Jeepers Creepers.
My earliest... I was always a very frightened child. You know, I was always very nervous. I was always a child that didn't like fighting. I don't like... Not fighting, but I don't like violence. I don't like loud voice. I don't like shouting. I don't like all that stuff. I mean, no one does, but at the end of the day...
I bet I know what film you're going to say.
I'll give you two guesses. If you can think of what film I'm going to say.
Yeah.
All right, I wish I had a pen here because I'd write it down to make sure if you've done it right.
Yeah.
But go on then.
Is it Dracula?
No.
Okay. All right. Go on, carry on.
My first horror film,
first horror film. I don't know.
Okay.
Go on.
So it was a combination of two horror films. And I can remember I was only young, and we got into the video shop, and I can always remember at the top shelf was always the horror films, and it caught my eye, and I looked at it, and it scared me all the time. Every time I would walk into that video shop, I'd look at it and go,
try and avoid it. Like, don't look at me.
He's looking at me. And I'd look up. But there was something about it.
Intriguing about
something about it that if I wanted to be a monster, that's what I want to be.
Okay.
All right. So.
Oh, I know what it is.
What is it?
Is it American Werewolf in London?
Yeah.
Okay. See.
So I can remember as I walked, I saw it and it was like,
Yeah.
and I was like, I need to watch that film.
I've lied.
What?
The first horror film I watched was not Jeepers Creepers. That was a little bit later down the line.
Go on, what?
It must have been the same thing.
What, American Werewolf?
Yes, because I can remember being with my nan, right? And you know the bit where he changed? No, his friend got mullered by the werewolf and he was like, blood everywhere.
I'm back.
Yeah, it was that bit. And I was like, oh my God. Like, so I think we share that in common.
Okay.
It must have been the same for me because I definitely
we learned
wasn't.
something today. Yeah?
I definitely weren't 14 when I watched that. I was younger for sure. So yeah.
American Werewolf in London, and I can remember my brother got it from the video shop, and it was sitting on the side.
Today's the day.
Yeah.
I've got to.
I was sitting there with like, I was shitting myself, but I had to watch it.
Get it out of your system.
So I've got it in, and I can remember
yourself?
when they were in the pub and the Irish man goes to him, keep off the moors, keep
Yeah.
off the moors, and the Irish, the Turkish fella, the American bloke went, keep off the moors, what is he talking about?
Yeah.
And they go, and it's that moment in it when they're walking and they're like, we're on the moors, and they hear it in the background. My heart went. And they're running.
Like,
you know, when
there?
they're running, they're like, we gotta go, man. We gotta go. And you got like a Yorkshire. You got like a York. It's a dog. It ain't a fucking dog. My dad's eating it from episode number 1. You know what I mean? It's like, stop shaking the bloody table. Shaking that. No, my dad, like, the werewolf is chasing the Americans. And my dad's chasing the American werewolf. He's like, I'll boil that and eat that. That's culture for you.
Oh, that's crazy.
So yeah, it was American Werewolf, and I thought it was a phenomenal film. All werewolf films have always intrigued me. You know, I was always scared if I got bit by a dog or something, I would turn into it. But part of me wanted to turn into this thing. You know, I wanted to be like, like your mum sometimes says I'm that man. You know, but yeah, I was the American Werewolf is an absolute.
It's a classic.
It's a top one for me, and I could still watch that film now.
Yeah.
I love the fact there where they come back to London, hometown. Do you get what I mean? And I was like, yeah, I love that film. I think they screwed it up when they done American Werewolf in Paris. I felt like the graphics were better, but I felt like it become a bit too much like a comedy, and it didn't have that realness. Even though American Werewolf, when I watched it later on in life, I felt like it was. I think I'm lying to you. I don't think it was my. It's not my first film.
What was your first film?
The Elephant Man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, was that your first film? It was The Elephant Man.
It wasn't my first film, but I remember that film.
It was The Elephant Man.
Yeah.
Was that a horror?
It wasn't a horror.
It was.
Was
wasn't
it? I just think it was a bit of a
Just a...
strange.
Poor thing. I shouldn't be doing that.
You shouldn't do that, Dad.
Why are you laughing?
Because it's an actual condition.
Yeah, Elephant Man, I think it is. Now I'm thinking back. But yeah. Great times, because you got to remember, as well as I thought that all these actors were real, I thought they were real as well. Do you get what I mean? But there was another one, was The Return of the Living Dead. That was another one, a zombie film. I never watched that till late in my life. There's quite a few horror films that I was like scarred.
You don't jump too far ahead.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of horror films I can get into. But you said, what was the first one?
What, for me?
No, we know what it was. Your question at hand was, what was your first horror film? So don't jump into all the ones that come later on.
See what I mean? What film does?
Yeah.
Film, you
does,
just start
yeah.
to, boom, go into it. Okay. Have you got a film that inspired you?
Yes, I do.
I know what it is. I know what it is.
What is it?
It inspired me.
What is it?
And I think it inspired 6 billion other people at that time.
What is it?
Angela!
It's Adrian!
Adrian! Ain't it Angela? No! I always thought he said, that's his voice. Angela! I think he was part of the elephant family.
No, it was Adrian!
Adrian!
But yeah, it was Rocky.
I thought it was Angela.
Rocky, right?
Yeah, Rocky.
When I was a child, I used to spend Friday nights at my grandparents' house, and I always used to stay up till about 10, 11 o'clock with my nan, and we'd always watch a film.
Have a bit of water. Go on, carry on.
We'd always watch a film, and I can remember on the television there was a upcoming tonight 9 o'clock movie. It was Rocky, and my nan was like, oh, okay, like, we're gonna watch this tonight, you're gonna love it. And that's the one thing I can always say about my nan. She was very magical with any form of like film, or yeah, she was just incredible with it, and she really hyped me up for these films. And I can remember watching it, and as I'm watching it, my nan is commentating the whole time. Look at him go. Yeah. Watch him. Look at him run, Ria. Blah, blah, blah. And I just fell in love with Sylvester Stallone. And not like I fancy him, I want to be in a... It's like, this man is like my uncle. And it was Rocky 2. Like this, so they played each one each week. All the way up until, I think it was Rocky 5. Or 4, up until, because I know they've done newer releases to it, but at that time it was Rocky 1, Rocky 2, 3, 4, and I loved every single one of them. And I loved how, because it made you invested in him as a person. You know, he wasn't your typical...
That's what he was trying to... Like, I read about Rocky itself, and there was a documentary. I think there was a documentary called Stallone. And
it was called Sly.
Sly. Was that a documentary on him?
It was on Netflix, yeah? Yeah, I watched it
too. What he was doing and how he projected that film, was an absolute masterpiece on how he tapped in at the perfect timing. Yeah. The timing was key.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know if people were flat back then or whatever, but I just felt like he just inspired.
It was a very inspiring film, yeah.
Can I just say something? Mm-hmm. Not many films done what he did to me.
And me.
All right?
Trust me.
I become a heavyweight boxer.
In your head?
In my head. No, in real life. No, not in real life. But I became a heavyweight boxer. After that film had finished. The boxing clubs must have gone through the roof.
Trust me, every man wants to be a boxer.
Yeah, it was just like, I was like, I want to talk like him.
Yeah.
But you know what? I started boxing.
Did you?
I actually started boxing. Yeah, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But that film, I have to say, even though we can look back at it now and go, a bit shabby with the old cinema photography, like when you watch the boxing scenes, but because you've got so much respect for that film, you oversee that, and it's just a masterpiece. It's an absolute masterpiece.
I mean, the training, you know, in him, in
Apollo,
his training.
when he saw Apollo,
yeah.
And Mickey, was it Mickey?
Yeah, Mickey.
Like I never called him Ricky. Angela, Ricky.
And do you remember Paulie, his brother-in-law? Yeah, and he had like the alcohol problem. And then it was just wicked.
I resonate really, with that whole thing, you know?
The fact that it wasn't like, I'm now a boxer. Like, he failed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And he put in work and he believed in himself. And, he was a success. And I will always remember that. You know, like the and the Eye of the Tiger. I can't hear the Eye of the Tiger without like...
This is Eye of the Tiger. I've become a boxer.
It was wicked.
I couldn't believe it. Like when he was training, chasing the chicken.
Yep.
My dad was cooking the chickens. I was like, Dad, we need to chase the chicken. You know, it was...
But yeah, Rocky was a phenomenal...
Apollo. Number 2 was Apollo... Again. B.A. Loved B.A. He was just... Remember... B.A. was from the A-Team, so he was always a fixer.
Yeah.
You know, so when he was in Rocky...
Mr. T.
And the way he fought like a machine.
Yeah. And then there was the Russian guy, Ivan...
I loved that guy, Dolph Lundgren. Lundgren?
Ivan Draco?
No, his real name was Dolph Lundgren.
Oh, I don't know his real name.
Mate, he was quality. He was his partner was Bridget Nielsen.
Yes.
And they were just like, I will kill him.
And then they also had that wrestler in there. Do you remember the wrestler guy?
It was Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah,
Hulk
there
Hogan.
you go. Yep.
Yeah. The films were legendary.
They were great.
All the way up to... I think they got a bit silly now. But, you know, that's just down to me. That's a discretion. They are good. But
I watched... I don't know if Sylvester Stallone...
Do you know what it is?
What?
I want to see Rocky fight.
Rocky, yeah. But I was going to say, the last Creed that came out was pretty good.
Yeah, I think they're wicked.
Yeah.
I think they're all wicked. But I just want to see
Rocky
Rocky
beat the
fight.
original.
Yeah, when he started getting the restaurant and he like retired and then you had that...
He had his son that was growing up.
Yeah, it was that... Do you know what? That actual boxer in Rocky, you know the white guy? Mickey, I think his name's Mickey something in real life. You know he died.
Who?
In Rocky... Remember he trained the white guy?
Yeah.
He died.
In real life?
Yeah, he died of
damn.
AIDS. Yeah. He died of AIDS. He caught AIDS.
Really?
Yeah, I watched a documentary on him. What was his name? I think his name was Mickey or something. Don't look, when I say names, please don't. I mean, I thought it was Angela, not Adrian. So, but yeah, he died. It was a phenomenal film. Yeah.
Again, it had the love.
Had everything.
I've
got to say though, there was a few actors out there, mate. They are superstars, absolutely superstars. All right, great films, but it was just, I don't know how to say it. It was the accents.
In what way?
Like Rocky's accent got better after a while. Like, if you watch number 1, it was really like.
But I think that's what made his character good. You saw
No, I thought it was good.
Yeah, you saw a character development with him throughout the films.
That's what I said. That's what I mean. So as the things went on, you could see how he's... what would you call it? Impingement? No? What would you call he's talking? Anyway, his talking got better. I couldn't stand Arnold Schwarzenegger. I couldn't stand...
No, I've never been a fan of him.
Nah. I mean, his only film that I liked was Predator. Predator wasn't, but in that one, I don't think he talked. But there again, I'm saying that he was wicked in Terminator 2 with the iron bloke. You know, like remember Terminator 2? See?
Yeah, I've never been a big fan of him as an actor.
I mean, when he done the comedy stuff like that with Danny DeVito or whatever his name, and they started doing he was pregnant. I don't know what all that was about. But yeah, Terminator 2 was awesome. He was Predator. I didn't like all the Conan the Barbarian. I found all that a bit rubbish. But yeah, and the other one was the what was his name? I think it was Dutch. Claude Van Damme.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
All he could do was kick. He was like, I can't act, but I can kick. Put a bottle on your head, I'll kick it. I just felt like he was just doing my head in. It was just like, I found it, I don't know, I just found him a bit of a dick, really. I thought he was great in the Kickboxer, and I just felt like he just started to chase that thing, you know what I mean? And I think that was it, you know what I mean?
I hear you. I know what you mean.
Go on in, any other ones?
What?
Any questions you want to ask me? I bet you could ask me loads now, couldn't you?
Yeah. So, what's your favourite genre of film?
Oh, that's a hard one. Because horrors, I'm not too great at. I mean, your mum loves a horror. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can I just say something about horror? So we always get into this discussion of like, you know, flicking through Netflix or what should we watch? She's always in the horror thing. I want to go to bed happy. She wants me to go to bed shitting myself. So she's like, no, let's watch a horror. So we end up with discussion. She'll always win. All right. So she'll end up finding a horror. And I'll give it all the large. I do not want to show weakness. I'm not scared, you know. She's probably going to watch this and go, I already know, I saw him. You know, but... so we'd end up picking a horror film, and she'd lay on that settee over there. I'd lay on this settee over here, and we'd be watching it. And I'm not lying to you. My nerves are going, and it ain't even a scary bit. I'm like... And you know when you get the music, the music... Dun, 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 dun. Jaws! Do you remember Jaws?
Yeah,
you see?
Jaws.
Because I was getting it. Dun, 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 dun.
Jaws,
yeah, you see?
yeah.
So I'll be shitting myself, but I'm not saying nothing. But the music is intense. So, you know, Rebecca's on that settee, she's watching it, I'm watching it, and I'm locked on it. And as I'm locked on it, I want to look down, but I don't want to look down because if she's looking at me, she's like, why are you looking at the floor? I'm like, there's a bit of dust on the floor. And I start creating like stupidness, like I've got an itch here. But the thing is, you know when you itch, I'll look at my itch.
Yeah. You'll watch it.
I'll watch it. So I can't watch the screen, yeah? But the funny thing is that as this is going on, I'm scratching, I'm all over the place. Now, my insides are screwed up.
Right.
My brain's going all over the tide. I feel like people are going to come through the door. I feel like someone's underneath the settee. And then I look at your mum.
Yeah.
And she's sleeping.
She's blocked out.
She's like that. And I'm like, she's sleeping, this woman. How was she sleeping through this bloody thing? She told me to put it on. So me now, all you men out there, if you guys are going to get through this is the weirdest thing I've ever noticed in my life, all right? So I sit there now, I start thinking, do I turn it off or do I keep it on? I've actually enjoyed it because I've manned myself up. I've watched a bit of an itch here.
I'm a bit invested in the story.
But I've watched it, you know what I mean? I've got over that intense, you know? So I'm watching it, but then I think to myself, no, I'm going to turn it off. And as I go to turn it off,
she wakes up.
I hear, oi, put it back on. I'm like, but you're not even watching it. And she's like, yes, I am. I'm like, what, with your eyes closed? Now I start thinking, is she scared? And she's like this. Do you get what I mean? And I'm like, oh, is she asleep?
Yeah.
But she does sleep sometimes because I get the odd. She's gonna kill me.
I was gonna say, be careful, Dad.
But
After
I love
last
her,
time,
and I will watch any movie for her. Back to the genre.
Yep.
Love a comedy. I don't feel like the comedy's a comedy enough. I feel like you get little short, little spouses of funniness. Do you get what I mean? I like. Do you know what? I like silent films.
Quiet.
I've watched some really good films with no. What's talking? They call it no.
Oh, completely like
Silent.
mute films.
Mute. Yeah, there's no dialogue. There's no dialogue, and I've really watched it. I think because I lock into it. I'm a Legend with Will Smith. There's not much talking in that. He's talking on his own. Well, the other one when he's on the desert. What's that one? Not in the desert, on an island. DHL drops down. Tom Hanks.
Oh, with Wilson.
Oh, I love
What's it
that
called?
film. Tom Hanks is an awesome actor. There's loads of them, loads and loads, and you can see how just watching a film like me now. Look, I'm excited. Do you get what I mean? But when you say to me a genre, I think I've got awesome films in all genres. Do you know what I mean? Like murder, like just the Silence of the Lambs. I never really got that the first time I watched it. Then I watched it the second time, and I was like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Thrillers. Green Mile, Shawshank Redemption. I mean, all you guys probably, but they're long.
Yeah.
They're long films.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And for you to invest 2-3 hours into a film, it must be a good film.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Yours? What's your genre? So I can't tell you what my best genre is.
I hear you. You've got a variety.
Yeah. Your mum turned me into a horror freak as well.
Okay. I would say I used to have a favourite genre, which would be horror films, but it's not that anymore. I've watched possibly every horror film there is to watch, and I'm very selective when I want to watch a horror film. But what I could watch every single time I watch a film, it's what I hunt for when I want to watch a film. It's a psychological thriller. The first psychological thriller I ever watched, and is the reason I love them so much, is Law Abiding Citizen. And you know what psychological thriller is,
love
don't
that
you?
film.
No, but you know what the genre is in general?
Psychological what?
Thriller. So
That's what our book is.
Yes, no, but I'm just saying, like, you can think of films.
Yeah.
So I love the ending is not what you think.
Yeah.
The twists and turns that will come up.
Law-abiding citizen.
Law-abiding, and another one I can mention that
mathematically,
yeah,
he's got it sussed.
It just blew my mind how there were so many twists, and another one that I watched that again just confirmed my whole, this is my genre, was a film called Triangle. Have you ever watched that?
No.
Yeah, so basically this woman goes on a boat trip with her friends. She's going through a bit of a hard time or whatever, but you don't know too much backstory on it. She's on the boat, and one by one her friends get killed, and it's like there's an intruder on this boat. It's a big ship, and she can't figure out what's going on, and it was basically like a loop. Do you get what I mean? And it's very, very hard to explain, because only when you watch it, it's the kind of film that will make you have to watch it again to understand it in more detail than how you absorbed it the first time. And that's what I love about psychological thrillers. It's the same with like series. A really good series I watched that was a psychological thriller was Through Your Eyes.
Haven't seen that.
Sorry, no, not Through Your Eyes. That was a Black Mirrors episode. Okay. Sorry, I like Black Mirrors too. Really, really good for like thrillery. Do you know what I mean?
The unexpected.
What was that bloody series I watched?
She swore.
What, bloody? Oh, come on. It'll come to me.
Okay.
And when it comes to me, I will bring it up, because it was a phenomenal series. At the end of it, I was like, what on earth is this? Like, and that's what I love. I love that feeling at the end. You're like, wow. But yeah, Law Abiding Citizen, very, very good film.
I feel like a lot of, when you're talking about like a series there, yeah? So I don't know if it's actually a series or chapters, but everyone used to go on to me about, there's another genre, yeah? So is not Goodfellas, is Godfather. Now, I've never really got into it. Everyone goes on about it like, mate, you've got to watch this thing. I watched half hour of one, and I just felt like, is it going to get any better? Is it going to get better? But yeah, that Godfather was meant to be absolutely memorable. But I never really got into it. I don't know what it was, you know. But them gangster films, yeah.
One of my all-time favourites is Scarface.
Scarface.
I've watched it so many times. I don't get sick of it when I watch it. I love Al Pacino in it. I think the whole character, Tony Montana, is just...
When was the first time you ever watched that?
The first time I watched it, I was older than you think. Not older than you think, but I was older than you'd expect me to be watching it.
Yeah.
I think I must have been about 19.
Okay.
And when I watched it, I was just like, cool, this is pretty good, isn't it? Like, I was And I liked that kind of style of film. That's why you just mentioned The Godfather, which I found a little bit long.
It's long. I found it long.
I found it
dark.
a little bit long. But I did like Goodfellas.
I loved Goodfellas.
Yeah, I thought that was a wicked film. And I like films like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's quite...
I can remember the first time I watched Scarface. And we was in the back of my mate's chip shop. And there was a load of us. And... anyway, they put it on. We always used to watch movies. And we used to chill out there. And Scarface was on, and I can remember there was about 8, 9 of us when we were watching it. All my mates, we was about, I don't know, that's been about 17, 18. We could drive and all that, and we're watching it, and I can remember, just like Rocky, where I felt like I'd become a heavyweight boxer. When that film finished, I become a
gangster,
a cocaine dealer. I started going me and my mates, we all looked at each other and, I went, I'm Tony. I'm Tony. He was going,
You're Manny.
no, I'm Tony. I'm Tony. And he was like, no, I'm not Tony. You're him. And I was like, no, I'm Tony, mate. I'm Tony. And if any of them boys are watching this right now, they're going to remember that day. And if you want to know something really stupid, I can remember where Tony Montana shot someone. Remember when they cut him? They got the chainsaw in the shower and he cuts him. And as he kills him, they put the music on. Yeah. But as they kill him, there's a couple of kilos of coke on the side. And he says to his other mate as he walks out, he goes, get the yayo, man, get the yayo. And the fella went, Tamam Tony, Tamam Tony. My mate went, he's fucking Turkish. And we went like that. We thought, we're all connected. He's a Turkish Colombian drug dealer.
Cuban.
He's a Cuban.
Yeah.
He's a Cuban, yeah. I eat octopus, I shit up. Oh, it was quality, yeah. You know what I mean? See what I mean?
Yeah,
how that
good.
was like
an
immigrant. He came over, we all sort of...
Started off working in that burger place.
Yeah, it was just quality, you know. All them gangster films, you know, they were really, really good. The American ones, especially, were really good. You know, the British ones were good. Now, obviously, you got ones like the comedy Lock, Stock and Snatch. Another good one was The Business. We loved The Business when that first came
What's
out.
that other? What are them other films you like?
Which ones?
Rise of the Foot Soldier.
I like them. Yeah, do you know what it is? I like them. I don't love them. I just find it a bit, I don't know, a bit OTT, a lot of them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it just brings things to home.
Yeah, I think...
like people that I know that talk like that, and you know what I mean? It's like
100%.
using them, so I'm not going to swear and get it talk like that. But yeah, just bring things home, you know, and, you know, what was it, the Essex Boys, you know, all them, I don't
Layer
know.
Cake.
It's a good film. I don't think, in my eyes, I think that was a blinding film. I just don't think, what's the James Bond guy?
Daniel Craig.
I feel like it could have been. I think there could have been a better character there. I feel like it's just too posh. It weren't G enough for me.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? Even though they were probably trying to make out that he wasn't that person, but yeah, he just wasn't a G enough for me. But it was a good film, Layer Cake, legendary film. But yeah.
The other thing I really like are war films.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I like films when they go back in time, war setting, and you watch like the journey of a soldier and his, you know, friends, and they're often very sad, but I really enjoy them too.
Yeah, there was one called Metal Jacket.
Yeah, I think
Saving Ryan.
They're really good. Yeah.
Vietnam. Have you watched Vietnam?
I'm not sure.
That was a really good film back in the day. See, that's what I find was when we was younger, maybe like yourself, obviously, film itself was just starting to not foundate itself, but there wasn't a film, like you look at Netflix now.
So many.
Yeah, I mean, like driving past the cinema and you'd drive past the Odeon and you'd always have these things, do you know what I mean? And you'd look at like that, what was on. Do you get what? And you'd watch it and you'd imagine you was on it, you know? Yeah. I can remember like picking up a cassette, you know, looking at the front thing and then you turn it over and you always had like two little pictures of shots and you'd be really taken away.
Trying to imagine how was it going to be like.
Yeah. And this is why I found myself really taken away by film. So I know I'm going to change the subject a little bit. We'll get back to film. Was when we wrote this book, we had someone that read the book, and the first thing they said to us, it's like it's like watching a film, man. It's really cinematic. It's really, and that's why I felt like film today as a subject or a topic was going to be key to what we're trying to achieve in the long run.
Yeah.
So when people actually read the book, they're going to get that film bit. And the reason why they're going to get that film bit is because they've watched these documentaries to take us back to where they were. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought I'd just bring that up. Is that all right?
100%.
Yeah, films. Another one. Can I mention another one?
Yeah.
I think this might blow your mind. Moonwalker, Michael Jackson.
Loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I'm gonna make a change
I
for
loved
once in my life.
You sound a bit like
I'm gonna
it.
feel real good. I'm gonna make it happen. I'm gonna make it right. Did you feel good?
Sorry.
Is that good,
yeah.
Who loves that film, Moonwalker?
Yeah, I thought it was
was
wicked.
just another one that was inspirational. I want you to talk about it because it's just come to my head just now.
Yeah.
And just these feelings come to me, and this.
I don't know. I found that film specifically quite, I wouldn't say magical, but it was. Do you know what I mean? Without being about like bloody fairies and and I found it quite, again, gender neutral. Both girls and boys, men and women would enjoy it. I loved the Annie, are you okay? Yeah, the little boy, like. It was just, I really enjoyed it. And that, again, Dad, was another film I watched and watched and watched. I can remember.
It was awesome. I can remember that moment. And everyone will remember that moment where he gets that shilling or whatever it is. Not shilling, a dollar. And he flicks it. And it goes... And
into
he
the
falls straight
jukebox.
into it. And that what a thing. And that... Can I just talk a little bit about Moonwalker?
You don't have to ask me, Dad.
Right.
Just
No, because
speak.
I feel like I've got...
a lot to say.
Yeah, like, and I can remember that was a really big part of my life. That, all right, because as much as we spoke about being insecure and la 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 and all these sort of things previously in this podcast and podcasts that we're going to be talking about, Moonwalker itself, just like Rocky, brought me to another part of my life where I couldn't sing. I didn't have much confidence or anything like that. But one thing I could do was dance. I've always been a good dancer. And I can remember I could moonwalk. And I was the baddest moonwalker ever. Where
I remember always getting you to do it.
all my mates would be like, "Man, moonwalk." So you can imagine, I was like, what? I am the best at doing this. But you can imagine, I'm moonwalking around the playground. I'm moonwalking down at I'm going into a nightclub moonwalking. I was like, come mate, this bloke's not well. But yeah, the whole, it was just phenomenal. The whole Billie Jean, Man in the Mirror, this album, Michael Jackson. I don't like to talk about Michael Jackson because, he's had court cases and whatever, boom, boom, boom. But the guy was inspirational back then.
He was a very talented
and still
person.
to today, kids love that man. But Moonwalker was an absolute amazing film.
Yeah.
That did bring another light to me though.
What?
Thriller, the film.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he got inspired by the American Werewolf in London by that. Do you know that? So when he done remember he turned into a werewolf. Yeah, it was inspired by the American Werewolf in London.
Yeah.
Like when they're doing the zombie thing.
Because he's there in the cinema.
Yeah. It was. I loved it. I loved all that. Again, I shit myself with that one.
I used to be scared of the video.
Another great film was Jaws.
Yeah, it was a very good
I was
film.
petrified.
Yeah.
That put me off swimming. No?
I won't lie, the actor in it wound me up a little bit.
The acting.
No,
with the bloke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really a fan
Get out
him.
of the water.
Yeah.
Get out of the water.
But the concept of it, yeah, it was wicked. I think it was the first time, I was like, oh my God.
I'm surprised they haven't done a remake of Jaws.
Well, they've done, the Megalodon, haven't they?
Yeah, but it's not Jaws. It's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I know what you mean.
I can remember watching that film and it petrified me. I didn't want to have
They
a bath.
it has really big impacts on you, doesn't it, when you watch these things? You're a bit like, oh my God,
Yeah. This that's what I mean about these sort of films when you watch them. They set a tone on how you project things, no? So, for example, if you watch Grease and you're with your mates in the park, you get that sort of greasy feel, didn't you? Do you get what I mean? You're like, put a bit of music on, you know what I mean? Oh, should I tell you no, was that in there? No, was that Grease? Oh, what was that with, damn, the Bee Gees sung it.
Saturday Night Fever.
Saturday Night, was that in there? No, that's a film, isn't it?
That's a film, yeah.
Yeah, so check this out. Just a quick one, change the subject. The boys will know what is going on here. Last day of school, we had a prom, and they were playing all acid and all that. Yeah, acid, like...
Yeah, I know what acid is. Yeah.
Everyone was at this raving at the prom.
At your prom?
Yeah. Yeah. So it was me. I won't mention their names, but they know who they were. Yeah, and we had a plan that what we're gonna do is halfway through like this techno rave we was having or whatever, we was gonna put Saturday Night Fever on, and we did.
Okay.
And
did you start dancing?
You can tell by the way I walk, I'm a woman's man. And you can see me and my mates were like this. We can tell the man, I'm like a man. I can tell the man, I'm walking man. I swear to you now. Yeah? And as soon as we got to the end of the song, yeah, we was like, that's it. It all kicked in. But yeah, oh mate, now I think back, Saturday Night Fever, that film, that was awesome.
That was a good film.
Yeah. Go on then, any more questions you want to ask me? Come on.
I don't know.
What's one of your all-time greatest films?
I think Rocky was one of them, Dad.
Okay.
Yeah, Rocky must have been one of them for me. And I don't know. What was yours?
Right. Like I said, I've got loads of them. You know what I mean? If you look at different genres, like one of my all-time favourite films, and a lot of people are going to be like, really? Was Dracula.
Yeah.
Bram Stoker with Gary Oldman, Keanu Reeves. It had quite a few actors in there, but you watch that film, right? It is phenomenal. From the way he's got the castle in Transylvania, how they travel here, the music, the back set, the cinema photography.
Oh, hold on. Stand By Me.
Stand By Me, yeah.
Stand By Me. Love
no,
that
I won't be afraid.
That was good.
No,
and then you got like Lost Boys.
But Stand By Me, that's an important one because all of us had that summer holiday.
Yeah.
Not all of us, everyone here, we had that summer holiday where wherever it might have been, like your mum was telling me when she went Canby with Ryan and Dean, and they would be walking down the downs, you know. They had that Stand By Me feel, you know, walking along. Not you want to find the body or anything like that, but I think everyone's had that feeling, like me.
A bit of an adventure.
Yeah, just you and your mates maybe the first touch of being an adult, not being overseen by your parents.
Yeah. Not being
that was a wicked film. Yeah,
it was a good film.
That was an awesome film. Like Stand By Me is legendary. I mean, River Phoenix. I mean, all them guys. I thought they were wicked. You know. But yeah.
Oh, do you know what film come to mind? What film did we watch together? And I will always remember this film.
Oh, don't do this to me now.
And it's a romantic film. And I've never really been big into romance films. Like, I like them, but like I said, I prefer other ones. And me and Dad specifically, was going through a bit of a hard time. And it was just me and him at this point, like, together in the living room. And this film was about 20 minutes in. And I was laying there. Before you know it, the film was over. And I was crying my eyes out. What was it?
I can't remember.
The Notebook.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The Notebook.
That was very sad.
What a wicked film. Like, honestly.
Where he dies and he leaves... is that it?
No. Notebook is where...
Don't he die and he leaves it in a notebook? Isn't that it?
No. The Notebook is the boy called Noah and then the woman called Ali.
Yeah.
And they fall in love. Spend summer together.
Yeah.
She's going to study at this university, and then she meets someone new, gets married, and he comes back, but he's gone away and he's built the big house that she always wanted. They do rekindle it, but at the same time there's an entwining story going on that later on in their life she's been diagnosed with Alzheimer's and he cares for her and they died together at the end.
God, I feel like crying.
It was a really, really good film.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happens. you sometimes watch the best films when you're not expecting to. Do you know what I mean? Like one film I watched too, and I was like, I wasn't keen on watching it. Again, one film I watched very later on in my life was Forrest Gump.
Wicked film.
So I hadn't watched it before, and I wasn't keen on watching it. Every single time my boyfriend would suggest us watching it because it was there to watch, I'd be like, no, don't really want to watch it, whatever. When we put it on, I bloody loved it. Again, I nearly cried. I cried at the most stupidest things, but I thought it was a wicked film. And just certain times when you're not going out of your way to find the film and you just stumble upon it, or you just by chance end up watching it, you really enjoy them.
How many times have you sat there in the evening and you've just ended up watching this film, you got to the end of it and went, that was really good.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. I do feel it's really important that when you do watch a film, the frame of mind you're in at that time.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So how many times I've watched a stand-up comedian and I've laughed my head off. Oh my God, I've been like on stitches. Oh my God, it's the best thing that's ever happened. And then I watch him again and I feel like,
a bit of a twat.
it's a bit of a shit, isn't it? But then the thing is, 2 weeks later, I watch it again. Not 2 weeks later, that makes it sound like I'm pretty sad. Like every 2 weeks I'm putting the same thing on. And I'm laughing again.
Yeah.
So I always realise it depends what state of mind you are.
Yeah. It's the same like with a horror film, for example. If you're not really in the greatest frame of mind, you might not want to watch it.
Yeah.
Because you're like, no, I don't want to feel... I don't find this exciting.
Yeah.
I just find it a little bit negative.
Yeah.
And I don't need to put any more negative, you know. Yeah.
It's important what you watch. It is matching your mood at that time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it comes back to like what we spoke to in the last podcast, you know? Or was it the last one or the one before? When you've got an issue with someone, when you speak to them, you've got to make sure it's the right time.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, the same applies to a film.
It's like music.
Oh yeah.
Because you can play a song, and if you're in a really good place, you can just appreciate the song for what it is. Other times, if you're not, you can't listen to it because you're like, this is a bit too emotional for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I hear you.
So late films that have come out not long ago, because you've got to remember, like if we talk now, like I could bring up loads of films. If we talk about some really big actors, you know, sort of like what's that good looking guy called again? Brad Pitt. You know, he's been in some awesome films. You know, back in the day he was in some awesome films. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh,
you know,
Titanic,
legendary. Do you get what I mean? There was another one where he was a drug addict. I can't remember what it was. He played an awesome part in that.
Yeah, he's a pretty good actor, isn't
Leonardo.
he? Yeah.
Leonardo is a phenomenal actor.
Yeah. Do you know who else I like actor wise? And I don't think he's as what the word is for like Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio. You know Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yeah.
I really like him.
He actually follows me on Instagram.
Does he?
Well, I follow him.
I think he's really good.
He's done the thing. Did he do he done the Nightcrawler?
Yeah.
Yeah, he done Nightcrawler. The other one, Booth. Have you seen Booth? Where there's a whole... Is that him? No, that's not him. That's Colin Farrell. Where he's in the telephone box. The whole film.
Yeah.
That film.
It's good, isn't it?
I love that film. Mark Wahlberg. Is it Wahlberg?
Yeah.
In The Sniper. Is it?
Not a big fan of Mark.
Oh no, I think he's cool.
No,
yeah,
gets
he's
on
cool.
my nerves.
No, I think he's cool when he does the I mean, they all look the same. They do.
Yeah.
But he's cool. What other actors have we got there? Got some British actors as well. You know, like I said, Michael Caine, Gary Oldman. There's quite a few. Do you know what I mean? I like the old boys. You know what I mean? Ray Winstone. Love Ray Winstone. I love him in Sexy Beast. That was a phenomenal film.
He stars in that new film. Have you seen Damsel?
No.
It's on Netflix at the moment.
No.
Yeah, have a little look if you like him.
Okay.
He's in that.
How you think we got on with film today?
Yeah, I think it's one of those subjects you could sit there and talk about for ages and ages.
Yeah. So, look, I like to go on and on and on. You know what I mean about it, but we can't make the podcast go on and on and on. Because, you know, just they're going to be there thinking, what the going on.
Well, hopefully not, because I do think film is something that we all can relate to. I know maybe some people are not the biggest fans of film, but I think more people are than they're not.
I think they're more than ever today. I mean, Netflix, I mean, series. I mean, I've got people at work that spend days and days watching a series. Like, I had one guy that said to me, "Yeah, there's this series coming out, mate. You got to watch it." And I was like, "What is it?" He made a name up. I went, "How long is it?" He went, "It's 13 episodes a season." And I said, "How many seasons?" He went, 24. I said, "How long's an episode?" He went, "An hour." And I went, "Mate, that's like 500 hours. That's like half my life."
Yep.
You know, and but just like, people obsessed with it. They love it. Film is the thing. You know, like I say, when we get back to the book, you know, when I talk about the book itself, you know, my dream is to make sure this book is sealed in a book form. You know, it's got to be solid. Yeah. But I'd love it. And it will happen. It will be turned into a movie, which I do believe it will. It's definitely cinematic. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah?
Yeah, 100%. From writing the book to rereading the book, it definitely embodies film material.
Yeah, I think it's very, very relatable.
Yeah.
So exactly like, you know, I mentioned these films today. You can see that nothing has been written down. You know, we haven't got no manuscript here, like I mentioned today, and we're just living off our memories and what comes through. So when I talk about certain films, you know, I was in certain places while I was watching these films, and I used film as an escapism. You know, music, I did and I didn't, but film was just on my doorstep. It was there in the front room. So can I remember what was going on when I watched Moonwalker? Yeah. Was it a great time? Nah. Can I remember when I watched Stand By Me? What I was doing and where I was? Yeah, I just wanted to run away. Just like them kids. And I think that's why I felt relatable to it. And I felt connected.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about Scarface, and you say to yourself, what was it that I felt relatable from it? You know, we always had this impression that money will get you away from all this stuff, and you see how he made money, quick money. He went from working in a burger bar to having Lambos and women and big yards, and you feel like, I can do this. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So when you start looking at all these things, I mean, take away the horror films and stuff like that, maybe the horror itself was giving me a sense of my feelings at that time.
Yeah.
Can you see what I mean?
I know what you mean.
I feel like films themselves have a really big impact. You know,
Because we often, not just like us personally, but people in general, the things that they go through in life, especially once they reach a certain age, they feel like their life has been a film.
100%.
Yeah. So,
100%.
you know, often people say that, you know, my life is like a film or has been like a film. So, yeah.
It was a bit like that moment when we sort of nearly had that last shot in Cyprus walking down, and I was talking to my uncle and I was telling him about how I feel like life is. And we used to have these old cine cameras back in the day. They were old cine cameras, and they go from one reel to another. Like I explained, if you haven't watched that documentary, please get on it and watch it, you know. But when you watch the way the old cine cameras work, they're only little frames, little pictures that light projects onto, and as faster they go, they start projecting this image. You understand, on the wall or whatever. So that's how I feel like our lives are. Every image is a second or a minute of our lives. Do you get what I mean? And that's why I feel like film is so important, because just like what you just said, our lives are just one big film. And as much as it's my life, when I'm gone, you're going to be telling my film to your children.
Yeah.
And hopefully I try and give you as many images as possible, just like being here in a podcast, that you'll be able to tell your children and they'll be able to see it.
Like a film.
Like a film.
Yeah.
And just like everyone out there, they all have their own films. It's all down to them to decide what genre their lives fall into. You understand?
100%. Definitely.
Yeah?
Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah, okay. You like that one?
Yeah, I've enjoyed this topic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, I feel like we could literally sit here and talk about this all day long. So, yeah. I think it's been a good addition to our array of topics to talk about. We will touch on other subjects in the upcoming videos. Overall, I've really enjoyed this one today, and I'm looking forward to the response we may get from it.
I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved it.
I'd love to hear you guys' favourite films.
Yeah.
If any of the films that we mentioned today are one of your favourite films too, let us know. Let us know what films you love, even if we didn't say it, because you might jog a memory of ours and we might be like, oh my God, I forgot about that.
There's loads of films.
Yeah.
All day long we could be talking about films. You know what I mean? All day long. You know, it's, what was the other one? It was a dance one. What's the dance one?
Step Up.
No, before that, break dance, break dance. Yeah, honestly, people will understand the ones I'm talking. There's loads.
Me, Step Up.
Step down. But I know the ones you're on about. They're newish
they're
ones.
Like the modern ones.
Then they got the Fast and the Furious. You got the Harry Potters.
Oh, Harry Potter!
Yeah.
Oh, we need to stop here because we're going to be here all day if we talk about Harry Potter.
Okay, but listen, we can always do another one.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I tell you what would be nice is that we can do another film one, but we can do it live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we can interact with our
we
viewers
do it live.
and
so
definitely.
people can send in what they think, and we got an opinion. Do you get what I mean? And
definitely.
we didn't think he was going to die neither. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought he was going to marry him, and he
God,
married them.
That death scarred me.
Oh no! I can't believe he fell off the water. He fell in the water and drowned. How? But yeah, a good one.
Yeah. So,
Well, I've really enjoyed today. It's been a bit more of a brighter note. I think it's important that we try to be on like a livelier tone than morbid. Don't get me wrong, we have got some morbid subjects that are going to be coming up. I'm not going to call them morbid, but I'm going to call them a bit more serious, a bit more, what's the word? Tell me.
a little bit more harsh, not
harsh.
harsh.
Yeah. But yeah,
you know what I mean.
I've enjoyed the film thing. I feel like I want to go in and watch a film. I feel like I want to go in and watch Grease.
I'm thinking, what am I watching tonight?
Yeah, I feel like I want to watch Grease. But yeah, I've enjoyed it.
So just want to say thank you all for tuning in to another episode of our podcast. We really enjoy doing this as a highlight every single time that we video. You can also stream our podcast on Spotify. Every time I say Spotify, I go to say Shopify. Spotify and Apple Podcasts at The Only Way We Knew. We also want to say thank you to a few people in particular. Yeah,
I've written down, all right, because I can't remember. But yeah, I've got a little list here. Dennis Bynes, Nedel, Al Mosen, Hugh Dees, Doc and Boy, Adrian Johnson, Tony Moorcroft, Owen Quinn, Quinn Fraser, Sean Fraser, Phil Wilson, Paul Robinson, Suna, Got to Know, Made by Chef. Okay, Tom Voice MC, an amazing MC. You got to check him out on the Instagram. Free Jack Events, John Dang Nolan Boxing Club Deptford. Try him out. He's an awesome boxer. If you want to get fit down there, like what I said, getting fit is important to me now. I feel like I want to get back up there. I'll tell you how my progress will get on. And last night, Gabriel had a fight in York Hall and he won it. His third professional fight, SE Strength. Big shout out to him and well done last night.
Amazing. I'd also like to shout out Ria Garrett and Seval. You two have definitely commented on a lot of our videos with some very, very kind words, and we just love to hear all of your feedback. So I thought I'd give you a little shout out to know that I really appreciate it. We really appreciate it. So thank you very much. We'll see you next week, 5 p.m. Sunday. Watch a good film tonight.
Yeah. Let us know what you watched.
Let us know.
Alright, film, camera, action.
Lights, camera, action.
No, like, comment, share.
Yep, subscribe.
Okay.
And stream. Thank you, everyone.
Later.